Alrighty. Welcome to another week of live futures trading. I'm super glad that you're here. If you're here for the first time, my name's Tyler. I'm going to be helping navigate you through the wild world of day trading futures. And give me a second. Let me adjust my mic here. And during the live streams, I'm going to be pointing out my daily bias. I'm going to be sharing any trades that I take along with order flow, order blocks, breakers, all that good stuff that we talk about in regards to ICT and his concepts. So it's going to be a good time. If you're watching this after the fact, you can jump to the key moments using the chapter markers below, where you'll find all the trades that I've taken along with the detailed explanation of what I was thinking and why. And then lastly, Apex has decided to extend their 80% off sale, and you can use the code DTJ if you want to capitalize on that sale. The code will be DTJ. It's up on the screen, 80% off. I'll also drop it in the chat. Other than that, let's go ahead and open up in prayer, and let's get this day started. Father, we just honor you this morning. Thank you, Father, for the opportunity to build wealth. Thank you for your goodness, for your kindness, for your tenderness towards us as we continue on this journey. Father, I pray that you would give us wisdom as we read the markets, and you give us understanding. I pray blessing over every person here, that they would see increase in their trading, but also increase in their personal life. In Jesus' name, amen. Over the weekend, the Lord gave me a verse that really hit my heart. And I'll be sharing a little bit of that with you guys here today. Ted, good morning. TOC, good morning. How we doing? We're going to go ahead and get started here. Deadman Trades, good morning. And it's going to be a great day. Let's check out news. I just want to make sure I know what's going on in the overall economy before we just start jumping into the charts. Let's see. I wonder if that works if I do that. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so today is Monday, March 10th, and it looks like we got absolutely nothing. So it is a no news day. We're going to want to be conservative today. Probably be a little extra patient. Looking for the right setups and all that good stuff. Let's put that right here. This because I'm not going to take a trade on that. And let's start with our analysis. So put in the chat what you guys think is going to happen in the market. I'm going to share. We're going to start on the weekly time frame, and we will go from there. From the weekly perspective, the first thing that we want to do is we want to mark out our high and our low from the previous week. So we got our previous week set right here, previous high and previous week low. We are right here. That's our current price action so far. As we can see it, we've opened lower. As long as we're staying below this midpoint of the weekly time frame, I would say on a weekly perspective, we should see lower prices. So the narrative is bearish. Higher time frame narrative is bearish. We could run this low. If we really want to get rocking and rolling, we could run all the way to there. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. We may wick down and grab the previous day low here, or previous day, previous week low there. But maybe... really, I could see us running for September 16th lows, that big, thick orange line right there. But that's probably the extent of the downside that I would want to see. If we run this previous week low, I would want to see some aggression and then a retracement and then a continuation, and that's where I'd look at taking a short. On a daily perspective, we have our previous day high and previous day low tagged here and there. And then we have our equilibrium sitting right in between. We've already ran the previous days or Friday's equilibrium, which takes away that draw on liquidity. So we don't have much to go off of there. We have this order block, bearish order block sitting right here that we've ran into from Friday, and we could be expanding lower from today, meaning targeting this previous week's low from September 16th. That's what I have there for today. But when we look at Friday's candle does not tell me bearish. Friday's candle tells me a potential retracement. So when we have a wick lower, we run lower, but then we close inside the range, I really want to see how does this candle, what does this candle do? Does this candle respect the midpoint, which is right here? If we can get back up to the midpoint and we respect this midpoint of Friday's range, we may see price run for the previous day high and get back up in this range. We may see more consolidation like this. Maybe we still make lower lows, but I think we see more price action like that. That's on a daily perspective. Dropping down to the 4-hour, we had a nice wick right here from 10 p.m., wicking this 4-hour candle's high and then following a sell-off. So nothing that's standing out on the 4-hour to me. On the 1-hour, nothing really. We'll watch this swing low right here. I'm incorporating a new model. Based on a collection of different traders that I found using higher time frame that I'm going to be utilizing. We'll talk more about that today. It's primarily based off of the hourly time frame with executions on the 5-minute time frame. So we're going to look at that a little bit. I took one of those trade. I took that trade last night on just a demo account, and it played out 50 handles over the Asia session, which I don't trade the Asia session, so that kind of got me a little excited, not going to lie about that. Dropping down to the 15-minute, we are currently inside a 15-minute time frame, or 15-minute fair value gap. This is where I think we may find, I had this marked out earlier, this is where I think we may have support. If we can continue to have support here, we could fill this new, the opening range gap, which will be somewhere in this vicinity. We have a large new opening range gap. And we have our previous week high, or previous new week opening gap high and new week opening gap low, sitting right around Asia high and London high. So these are my lower time frame targets that I would like to target. And I think there's a draw for those since we've had such a sell-off. That's what I would like to see. If we respect the 15-minute fair value gap over the next 6 minutes and we don't close below this, I like the idea of playing out the 930 model, which would be a long, going long. I think that's a possibility. Now dropping down to the 5-minute time frame. Now we're just getting to the nitty-gritties here. Here's our break. Here's a breaker sitting right here that we've been in. Is that on screen? That's not on screen. Here's the breaker that we may be hitting. Low, high, lower, low. This wick is right in between this 15-minute fair value gap. And that's where I'm saying that we may find support there. And that should be just about everything. 1 minute. Stan, good morning. No news today. Yes, sir. JB, good morning. Strongly considering joining the academy today. Number one, methods work as well. Methods work as well on other futures. Yes, it does. 100%. Cover more in the material than YouTube? Yes, 100%. And in order, and in the order that you should want to learn it. In the Discord, pretty active. I would say it's growing. So as we continue to grow, there'll be more activity. But the thing about the Discord, I would say, is you'll have access to me at any point in time. Instead of just a stream, you can ask questions anytime, ask for help, and that's what I'm there for. Is my goal is anybody part of that, the Discord and the Academy, is I want to see you guys become profitable traders. That's the goal. That is what I want. Lifetime membership, 100%. And here's the thing. As I continue to grow as a trader, as I grow as a content creator, new things will happen, and there'll be benefits for those that are a part of that, a part of the Academy. So if I change anything or do anything different, I always will have those that chose to join at the beginning in mind, and there'll be benefits for that, or I'll just grandfather people in that way. So I don't know what the future has. I haven't gotten past where I am right now as far as what I'm doing with the Academy, but that is kind of where things sit. So if you want to join, we'd love for you to have you, and we'd love for you to be a part of that community. All right, so we did sweep this high right here with that little candle. So I want to see sell side grabbed, and we have a little sell side right here, and we still have sell side right there. So 828, let's go ahead and get set up here. Epic, good morning. How you doing? I like this little sweep of liquidity. That makes it nice for a potential long here. Would love to see over the next minute we close above here. If we don't, I might just pass on the trade. Watching 725, relatively equal highs. That's nice. Yeah, I like this for the 930 model here. And it does not look like it's going to play out. Did not play out there this morning. Ran the low. Question, on the 15-minute fair value gap, a candle closed below the halfway point, which would indicate an inversion fair value gap. Where's the 15-minute fair value gap? Because the 15-minute fair value gap I have is right here, and we haven't closed below it. We want to close below, you want to close through it. That creates the inversion. Any body close inside of this green or the purple section is still considered a fair value gap. No. Think of the midpoint as, how would I describe that? Think of it as a Lego piece that perfectly fits in place. It hits the midpoint, and then it rejects. That's like a perfect Lego piece that fits perfectly for the spot that you're looking at. Think of as price coming down, wicking below, but body staying inside as, you're using multiple Lego pieces to get the same job done. Okay? It's not as pretty, not as nice, but it still completes. Okay? We're looking at, ultimately, you want to see the bodies respect that level. That's ultimately what you're looking for. Now, you can have inversions, and I could show you several examples where you'll see inversions happen, and then price will just move the other direction as well. What's screaming long? Because I thought if it closed below the halfway point, it was screaming shorts. Yeah, so hopefully that clears that up for you. And it's a lot more than just an inversion. And an inversion is a cog in a wheel. It's one part of a collection of PD arrays that help tell the story of where price is going. Okay? It's just one part. Now, for example, if I see a swing high take place, if we wick up, let's just say, where was that candle? It was on the 1 minute. Okay, so when I see this candle like this, and when I see a candle do this, and it sweeps this high, that tells me liquidity is grabbed. So when I tie together a liquidity grab with an inversion, that makes it more powerful in my opinion. Now, does this one fail? Yes, it does. It fails immediately, but it eventually runs in that direction. So this liquidity grab is more valuable in my eyes than this inversion. All right, we got our 9:30 marked out. Good morning, PH. How you doing, my friend? It's good to have you. All right, so here's our previous day low. We could not touch this. If we get a lot of aggression, here's the only thing. I don't like this inversion right here, even though, well, I do because it's the first fair value gap. So we're going to have to watch that. So I'm looking at this as a purge of liquidity lower. I don't like how we left the previous week low, previous day low, and September 16th low sitting right there. It absolutely could do that, and that would annoy me. But we just got an inversion right here on the 1 minute chart. Why does it do that? I'm not sure, but there's a candle right here. Let me go back to the 2 minute, see if it shows up. So there's the 2 minute, closed above it, as you can see right there. But because we have lower prices, or we have a lower draw on liquidity that's lower, I'm not interested in that first fair value gap right now. I'm thinking, man, this liquidity is too close. I'm not sure I want to take that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that eliminates. There's a candle that's here. So the verse that I came across over the weekend was 2 Corinthians 12:9. And it went, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. And this verse really impacted me, because how many of us actually have areas in our trading that we are weak in? How many areas do we see that we struggle with in our trading? And it was just really encouraging for me that even in my weakness, his strength is made perfect. Meaning he's going to empower us, empower me to persevere, to be more patient, to only take those A+ setups, to not revenge trade, right? The things that traders struggle with when it comes to profitability. So that verse really stuck out to me over the weekend. I like this coming back up into this level here if we can close above the first fair value gap. But if it also rejects it, acts as an inversion, we could see, hopefully see prices run down to here. It was just a nice reminder that for me, I don't have to have it all figured out. And in time, I will. Morning. Didn't know the time had gone forward in the U.S. Yes, it did. Oh, so you're missing it. Yes. How does that affect traders? Does that mean everybody in the world has to start earlier, I guess, if your time doesn't change? So you guys have to actually start earlier for trading, I'm guessing, an hour early. Is that right? That'd be very, I'd never thought about that. All right, the price right here is looking as if that first fair value gap showing resistance. So I would like to see it run lower here. That's what I would prefer to see. How does that time work there? Does last Sunday in March? Oh, so in the UK they do a time switch as well? That's good. You know, it's 50-50 here in the US on the people that like it and the people that don't like it. I really don't care, to be honest. I think there's definitely some value in it. Mine is usually, and now it's 4 daylight savings time shift. Got it. That makes sense. TOC, see you, my friend. There's nothing here that we want to do, folks. If we get a deeper retracement and it gives us an inversion to the downside, I'll be interested in that. But the problem is I doubt we're going to get that. We get something like this with an inversion somewhere here that we can go short in. I would be interested in potentially taking something like that. Nothing standing out immensely here, folks. We got a 5-minute order block or a 5-minute series. We got some series of down close candles right here. Those 4 down close candles, we'd want to see a candle close above those before we have a change in state of delivery if we're going to see higher prices. I would want to see that right there. And then even on the 15 minutes bigger. We got 40 seconds. We'll see if it closes green. If it closes green, it might give us a breaker. 9:30 price is that where it turns green. That 15-minute candle. If this closes below 9:30 price, that means it's a black candle. Oh, as barely green as you can get it. I want an obvious fair value gap here for a point of retracement, meaning I want to see it go like this and come back down into a fair value gap that's overlapping with the level over here. That gives me confidence that we may see higher prices. But right now, nothing in here is giving me confidence for higher prices. Let's go ahead and jump and let's mark up our ES. I need to be more intentional on ES. I'm just not. I don't do it as much and I need to be. All right, so we got our previous week high and previous week low marked out. No, that's not correct. ES has not grabbed its low either. So here's ES right here. It's very similar to NQ. We haven't grabbed its low. That's here's the 15-minute. So I want to see liquidity grab down here on ES or NQ. Maybe it will give us an SMT. One grabs it, the other doesn't. I really don't care. Both grab it. I don't care. But it hasn't grabbed it here either. 1 minute unicorn, 906 breaker, 925. We'll take a look at that here in a second there, J Money. But markets are looking pretty symmetrical here. Jump off the charts, Ted. 100%. All right, so we regained the first fair value gap. That's a sign. It's a sign, I tell you. Let's see if it finds support or resistance. I would like to see price not go back above the first fair value gap again, but before we run these lows. And if it does it, what does that mean? It tells me that order flow price action isn't very clean right now, and it's further reason to wait and not take a trade. If you guys are appreciating the commentary, hit the like button. Today, there's no ads today. No ads today. So hit the like button if you're appreciating the no ads on the stream. I tried it out on Friday. I might incorporate a few days with ads, but ultimately, I'm not a fan of them. But hey, I think the most I've ever made from ads on my live stream is like $3, $4, $5 or something like that. Is it worth it? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it makes sense if you got, thousands of people. All right, here's our push lower. Let's see if we hit the previous day low here. ES has come into a fair value gap on the 1 minute. So I'm not sure if it's going to get all the way down there or not. We'll see. But NQ has a potential for it. $10 likes for no ads. Woo! Out of 50 people. Hey, I don't blame you, Matt. I really don't. All right, let's see what happens here. We're waiting for price to run the previous day low, and there's a good chance we get expansion towards this previous week low. So don't have any FOMO if you see an expansion candle right here. Currently waiting for the previous day low. This is the previous week, and then we have September 16th, which is a previous week as well. We're waiting for price to run these levels, see how they interact with them, and to kind of help us get an idea of where price wants to move. That's kind of what we're doing right now. Sitting in our hands, being patient. All right, there's the purge of previous week, previous day. ES has not hit its low. It's still quite a ways away. So there's a chance that we may see price run the previous week, September 16th low as well. But once we get past this, honestly, I don't know how far low we go. I really don't know. JR, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I'll just say I'm not holding my breath for that, but obviously would be nice. All right, so look where the body closed. Just take note of that. The body closed right on that previous day low. That's the beginning. That's a signature for higher prices. Now, does it mean we go higher immediately? Does that mean you take a long immediately? No. We want to add that. We want to add that confluence right there. That confluence right there with more confluences. So, for example, if we get this inversion fair value gap, if we see a large candle start playing out and it aggressively moves higher, and it closes above this fair value gap right here, turning it into an inversion fair value gap, and it does that quickly, well, you tie that body closing right on that level, and a large aggressive candle tied together with this inversion, that's where you start saying, okay, I'm seeing multiple things line up. This may be worth me taking the risk. It's not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee. But when you add, okay, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. Okay, I like 3. I'm looking for 3 confluences. It gave me 3 confluences. I'm going to target that high. Boom. So you stack ideas on top of each other. And that's how you start putting together a narrative for price. And doesn't look bad. Two-minute, there's nothing there. 3-minute, there's nothing there. 4-minute, there is one. It closes in 3 minutes. The 5-minute, there's nothing there. So we got a 4-minute and a 1-minute. Let's see if it wants to move aggressively. We have 10-to-1 weekly liquidity. Hope we get there. 10-1. Oh, to the downside? Is that what you're saying, JR? You know what, J Money, I don't even think I looked at the breaker. Is it, or was it this right here? High, low, higher, high. Right there at 9:30. Oh, I see that. Yes, sir. 100%. I don't know if that would have necessarily been a unicorn, but it's definitely a nice breaker right off 9:30. I just wasn't liking all of this. And the consolidation, I'll wait. I'll wait for something cleaner, better, clearer. Now, it doesn't mean that cleaner, clearer, better ends up in a win. It could still, I've had cleaner, clearer, better end up in losses. The longer we don't close above this level, the less I like it. I like that there's no fair value gaps here, meaning that this candle, the close, the next candle could give a fair value gap. I like that, but I would want to see it do it soon. This is a breaker right here to the downside. I'm not taking a short right after we ran the lows. If I'm going to take a short, it needs to be a continuation, and the continuation needs to be after we run a key level. $9.25. Ooh, that's really tiny. Yeah, it's there. It's there, though. So see how this confluence didn't give us another confluence? So that means we sit and do nothing. Now that we see price land exactly at that previous week low, now we're watching, okay, how does price want to react? We still haven't made a lower low on ES. My guess is we're going to get that lower low on ES. So my guess is this is going to be ran lower. Previous day on ES hasn't been ran either, so there's reason for us to kind of still consolidate around here. It's also 10 o'clock, so I'm honestly looking for a reversal, and I think we may have gotten it in this candle right here. So this is a sweep of liquidity from the 9 o'clock hour to the 10 o'clock hour. So if you look at my chart right here, you'll see that sweep of liquidity right here. I want to treat this as a sweep of liquidity. Yes, sure, purge a little bit lower, I don't care. But ultimately, I want to see if I can find an inversion, a breaker, something to the upside that's clean and clear. Why? Because we have previous day, we have a previous week, and we have a previous week from September. All these in line with this hourly sweep of liquidity says, okay, now that we have all of that, let's see if we can get some displacement to the upside and capitalize on a move. So that's kind of what I'm looking for right now, that I would like to see. We also have a low, high, lower, low. We could get a breaker right here for an upside move. So there's multiple things that are standing out to me. There's a little sweep, a little bit lower of that previous week low. ES is still not running that previous day low. So this could be a little bit bigger. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's the idea. That's the plan right now. That's the plan that I want to see happen. Maybe. I'm not going to look further left right now. I'm just going to keep an eye out on this and the SMT for ES and see if we get displacement. So if we start seeing an aggressive candle, that's going to be our indication. I like the 2-minute long, the 2-minute inversion. If it wants to give us something like that, we'll see. If it wants to keep going lower, then I'm not going to be taking a trade. I mean, as of right now, because my idea is to go long. My idea and my plan is for a long, not a short. If I need to change that plan, then I'll change the plan. But right now, there's nothing on the chart that tells me or shows me something as far as that would be clean and clear for me to take a short. Not quite yet. Maybe around 10:30. Maybe after we get more structure, it'll probably give us some ideas. But this is kind of what I'm looking at right now. All right, ES just ran its low. There you go right there. It just ran its low, as you can see. Now, I'm wanting to see a reversal. I kind of just want to take a quick long and see if it will give me a quick long here. We'll see if it does it or not. I doubt it will. Look at your daily chart. What there screams long. The daily fair value gap needs to balance. I'm up 5K on the day. Way to go. The previous day is what screams longs for me right now. I shouldn't say scream. Nothing screams any direction right now for me. Way to go. I'm glad you're up 5K. Nice job. But being up 5K today, right now, doesn't mean that you completely understand the bias. I'm not saying I understand it either. I have a plan, I have a narrative, and that's what I'm going to stick to. Nobody's going to shift my perspective because the only one clicking the trigger is me. The only one clicking the trigger for you is you, and you're up. Congrats. That's awesome. That's what I want for traders, is for you to be able to make your own decisions and be able to make that trade, make that entry. So I said what I'm looking for is a long after ES hits that swing low. And so far, we're seeing price find resistance here or finding support, and I would like to see if it wants to run longer. $5,600. Yeah, I mean, it could. $20,005. Oh, yeah, the fair value gap that's sitting at the daily fair value gap, yeah. But if I'm honest, this right here does not say reversal at all. So for those that have a short bias, if you have a short bias, then your short would be a rejection of these down close candles for continuation lower, right? Or you're looking at once we close below these series of up close candles, you could potentially use that as your reason to go short and consider this as a protected high. That's what you do. Doesn't matter if I'm taking it or not. You can use your own model, use the continuation model to take that trade lower. I might have my bias wrong today. That happens. But at least I'm not just clicking the button, going long, going short at some random point. I'm waiting for what I want to see take place, and then I'm going to take the entry. ES is still sitting around that previous day low. It has not made any attempts to expand away from it, either direction. This would be our change in state of delivery on the 5-minute. If we can close above this, to me that confirms price moving the other direction. So until we see something like this ran, we may see lower prices. They mentioned recession. Yeah, I'm not looking, I mean, on the higher time frame, I'm bullish or bearish, but I'm looking for that retracement after we hit these key levels to see if we want to continue. Now, if we want to be heavy, I might jump in if we see some aggression to the downside, right? What happened here is we closed below these and then we immediately went this way. So if we get another round, if we get price action running this direction with these bullish candles right there, finding resistance at this weekly low, or maybe this weekly low or daily low, that may be an entry point. And if it wants to continue lower, you could take that entry down here as well to expect that this turns into an order block. Just like you would expect this to turn into an order block right here You could use that as an entry. But the reason why I wouldn't want personally not use this as an entry is because we've already ran the weekly and the daily. We could see a larger retracement here. We could see price move higher. I mean, we got so much up here. We got the previous day equilibrium. We got the midpoint of the opening range gap. We got midnight open. We got the new week opening gap low, low and high. We got the Asia high and Asia high. There's a lot up here that I can just see it wanting to mitigate before it continues lower. So when you got uncertainty like that, for me, who could be seeing the market incorrectly, the answer is sitting on your hands. Here's a messy breaker, low, high, lower, low. There's your entry right there for a move higher. I'm not doing that. It's too messy, too consolidated. It's also a no news day. So many times on no news days, you're not going to see these huge expansion runs. Yes, they do happen, but they're not as probable. So that's why I'm like, I'm not sure about just a continued drop on a Monday morning. Usually the narrative on a Monday anyway is more consolidation, ranging. That's why I'm looking at something like that. Here's that point that if you're no, it wouldn't be there. It'd be more like here. Northern, good morning, my friend. How you doing? ES has expanded somewhat away. So here's that previous day low, previous week low. I wouldn't even call that expanding away. So we're still sitting around this area that there's just less uncertainty for me. There's a breaker right here. That looks nice for continuation lower. Let's see if there's one on, was there one on NQ? Oops. Is there a breaker on NQ? No. Well, here. It's not even getting above that weekly low. Yeah, time changed. It's already open. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. And I guess we have this daily fair value gap that we've basically mitigated. That's what we've been inside, is this fair value gap. Yeah, so now you're going to have to change it northern. Hour earlier if you want to get at market open. So interesting, I didn't catch this until now. So here's the mini breaker in line with the ES breaker. Oh, still, oh, so you change in 20 days. Interesting. Even if I was going to go short, there's nowhere where I would have wanted to go short. I don't have a higher time frame structure that supports an entry for me. I guess you could look at 10 o'clock. Where was 10 o'clock at? Right here. And you could have done a 5-minute entry on the 10 o'clock for a continuation. So you could have potentially gotten in when we wicked up into there. So right in there. That would have been your opportunity, I guess. But outside, and I'm not a big fan of that. I do like this wick right here in line with that wick. So there's that. But still, the price action and the way we're moving, I would have been more, I would probably have more FOMO if this move was more low resistance. But you don't have low resistance. It's more high resistance. We got price action moving up and down, overlapping the candles. So I'm not stressing over this. I'm not crying over here, wishing I was in that short, because I know there's going to be something better. October 24th, liquidity, is that on the daily time frame? Let's check. Oh, I mean, it's September. There's another daily fair value gap, I guess, here. Daily. That's crazy large. And we did tag it. Did we tag it? I think we tagged it. It looks like we tagged it. Yeah, look at that. All right, let's see if we can get a close here on this inversion. If we get a closed candle, technically it goes up to here because there's a fair value gap. There's a gap in that candle. So we'll see if it wants to run that. All right, I'm going to take this long here. I'm going to see if we can find support at this breaker. This green candle technically would be a breaker. I'm taking the momentum, the candle, this basically this large candle as a sign that we may see price move the other way, in line with that we tagged that daily fair value gap. We'll know pretty soon here if it's going to support it or not. Put this below the fair value gap. See if it wants to hold. If it doesn't, then we will close that before it runs down to the lows. If it's gonna go in my favor, it's gonna go. So I'll see if how long I can hold this. If it's gonna stop me out, it'll stop me out. It's not looking good. All right, stopped out there. Do we run that low? There's your inversion to the downside. Do you think we get it? The waiting game. Yes, sir. Bannock, you were on the 4-hour when you were looking at that October low. Yeah, I mean, the daily time frame fair value gap right here. The primary reason I was willing to take this long was we had a micro breaker. We tagged the daily fair value gap, and we did not run this high, but I took it on the retracement and entered there. Thought that that might provide a move higher. It didn't. It was in line with my idea and plan. I probably rushed it a little bit. I would probably admit that. I probably rushed it a little bit. If I had to pick something that looks better, it would have been this low, high, lower low. And finding price running above this, finding support at this weekly low, and then moving higher, that probably looks way better. So I would probably say I chased that a little bit. Probably sitting here, not taking a trade, sitting here for an hour, wanting to click the button, and that was the cost of it. So for me, it means more patience. Got a 10-hour on 1 micro, or 10 handles on the 1 micro, rhythmic lags on orders today, and won't risk more today due to that technical challenge. Another sweep of liquidity, closed green. Is that 9:30? Yeah, or 10:30. That doesn't surprise me. 10:30, running that low. I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom. There's nothing really exciting here, folks. I mean, look at since 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, look at this nice move right prior to 10 o'clock. Then 10 o'clock happens, and look at all this price action here. I don't want to trade this. Feeling some FOMO on shorts. I think it's going to keep dropping. It's tagged everything it needs to. Look at the bearish inversion form for a 75-point short move. I mean, you're going to find a bearish move here. I'm sure. But the goal is not sticking with your plan. And we're still sitting at this daily. We just entered this daily fair value gap. You can take a short. There's your wick up into the order block right there. If you think that it's going to go lower. If you're bearish, then that's where it would be. You looked away and missed it? Are you looked at the bearish version? Are you talking about the short move, I'm assuming? I'm not liking any of the short opportunities either. Look at all these wicks. I see more wicks than bodies. I mean, it's just a wick fest. It's a wick fest. Did the hourly give us a nice entry? ES gave us a nice entry for a short. I see that. That wouldn't have been bad. That would have been kind of nice, to be honest. But we don't watch ES like that. Too late for shorts. Almost my target here. But yeah, Nasdaq down 3.25 already. Not fun being patient, folks. I mean, it doesn't make for great live streaming either. So trust me, if I could take more trades right now, I would. At least for my model that I want to take. We're coming up onto the 11 a.m. macro here. We're at 10:43. We'll see how price kind of reacts here in this time frame here. The green one, Queens, is the daily time frame. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for stopping by, saying hi. Glad to have you here. Ask as many questions as you like. I mentioned this earlier, folks. I usually mention it at the opening of the stream. But most people aren't on here. But Apex has extended their 90 or 80% off sale. So you can use the code that I have on the screen, DTJ, and it will give you 80% off on an eval account. If you don't use Apex, guys, I really don't care. But if you do use Apex or you want to try it out, that code will give you the best discount Apex is offering. So check it out. What's more probable at this point? Are we waiting for price to give us a reversal and an entry for a long or a good short? Honestly, either. Now, here's how I would say that. No matter what, we haven't gotten a significant retracement besides opening. Besides open. We had this drop here, and then what did we do? We went higher and grabbed the liquidity sitting right here that was created right at 9:30. And then from there we shorted. But everything else has respected these order blocks for the most part, or didn't even get up to the order blocks. So there hasn't been a significant retracement, period. I'm not going to take a short on no retracement. But also I could take the long that's going to be the retracement. So you could play the long, you could wait for the long to end and play the short for the continuation back lower if you think it's going to go lower. But either way, patience is required, because when you're in price like this, and trust me, I've tried this before so many times, when I'm in here trying to go long or short and I get stopped out. Yeah, you could probably go short, let's say you want to go short there and put your stop loss way up here. Yeah, you'll be green, but would you really want to take on that much risk? So the question is, When do you take that trade? And for me, I can't take a continuation without a retracement. Yeah, you could probably go short right here for 10 handles and get a 10 handle slap real quick. Sure. But you could just as get a 10 handle slap in the face going short right there. It's 50-50. I mean, it's probably leaning more towards the downside, but your odds aren't really that great because these wicks aren't. Let's see, what's that wick? That wick is 8.5 handles, 8.75. The total candle is 24. So yeah, you could do like a 10 handle scalp. And to be honest, when I'm in drawdown, I'll do those types of trades. So like right here, I would consider going short for 10 handles right there because we have a big green body and I would want it to go short right to my ticker right there. Let's see if it doesn't. Because this is the risk that you take is you could just get an expansion higher and now there it is. I just got stopped out for 10 handles because I wanted to go short 10 handles for a quick scalp. This is the risk. So I have to have price action show me where it wants to go. And right now, yeah, it's dropping, but it could so easily do what you just saw right there. These two green candles just ruined your day because you thought it was going to just continue to do what it's doing, but then it throws in these two green candles. So maybe you're like, oh, well, I want to go short here. Okay, so let's see if it will give us 10 handles. And there it is. It gave us 10 handles by going short when you got these two big green candles. But then it disappeared just like that. It's not as cut and dry as just go short as I mean, maybe I'm missing something. And I could absolutely be missing something. I've only been doing this for 2 years. So I have a lot of growth to take place. ES has an inversion to the downside. The rejection, actually, this was not a bad play right here, actually. And the reason why I really didn't take it is, as you can look at this, guys, I'm missing a candle on my chart right now. But this down close candle right here technically is a breaker. And look how it runs right into that breaker and then runs lower. I didn't see that right off the bat, but I wouldn't have taken it probably anyway because at this point we hit the previous low right here, previous day low. And then we tag that area. I'm not looking to go short as soon as we hit a previous day low. Sorry, I'm not doing that. Because it could have just as easily reversed as it ran through it. So I'm not taking that 50-50 shot. I want to take a trade. But I got to be careful. We took a long based off of a breaker. It was right here. That ended up failing, so we got stopped out. And price is dropping. So either we get a tiny sweep of liquidity up here and then drop lower for a fair value gap, an inversion entry, or we sit and wait for a reversal. For me. You know, obviously you guys are the masters of your own button, your own mouse. You click your own mouse. So do I. I'm the one responsible for my P&L. You're responsible for yours. But the longer I sit in this chair, the more I realize how much patience is required and how much you need to let trades pass you by. So I can sit here and I could have 30 people on stream say, I made 1,000, I made 1,000, I made 500, I took this short, I took this long. Why didn't you take this? Why didn't you take that? The answer is, I got to be patient. I am in charge of my own button, and there's millions, unlimited amount of types of trades that you can take, and I'm focused on my model and my strategy. And if I'm going to master my day trading journey, I have to focus on what I have control over, or what education that I've learned, where I've spent my time. And I've spent my times on inversion and breakers. So that is where I am focused. I am in charge of my own button. That is correct. Plan your trade, trade your plan, 100%. So that's why it's so easy for me when somebody on chat says, bro, I made $1,000 today. I'm like, great. There's zero FOMO in me. There used to be, but not anymore, because I'm convinced that I am successful when I follow my plan, not somebody else's. And for those that took that trade, guess what they did? They followed their plan, or what they thought their plan was. Maybe they had a plan, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But assuming they had a plan, they followed it. They didn't follow my advice, which they shouldn't. They need to follow their own plan. The reason I do these live streams is to help teach you how to read price so that you can do it on your own. All right, so let's go ahead and let's mark out this high and low. So now we know where we're inside our first quarter of fair value gap. I forget what ICT calls them. What does he call them? Quarters? I don't remember. But you can see we broke it down into quarters. We got 4 quarters here, and we're inside our first. Here's our second. That's the midpoint. That's potentially where we are watching to see if price wants to find support at, or we can also find support inside the top portion of this fair value gap. So we'll break it down because it is a very large fair value gap. That is 400, a little under 400 points. Quadrants, thank you. I knew it was something. I'm like, quarters is quadrants. So it's in the first quadrant right now. You have your second quadrant here that overlaps with the midpoint of that fair value gap. So we're just going to break it down into quadrants and see how it interacts with it. Five minutes till 11 a.m. I mean, even in these retracements, look how short-lived these retracements are. There's not a single fair value gap in here. No fair value gap in any of those retracements. There's one right here. But this is the long that I took. So because I took the long, I missed the short. I took this long here because we hit the fair value gap. And we had a small breaker here that we came back down into. And if you're joining after I took that trade, I probably prematurely took that trade. I probably should have waited for this breaker to find support at, because it was also the weekly low from September 16th. So missed that. That seems a little extreme, right? Well, I guess that is pretty large. 600 points. I mean, I feel like we've had big loser days here. Oh, I bet you everything's red today. So here's what we can do. We can change our bias to the downside, for sure. Could we reverse right here? Yeah, but probably more likely to do it towards the midpoint. So if we are able to get a retracement here that finds resistance on a level and gives us an inversion to the downside, I'll look at taking that. Well, we'll see how price wants to react at 11 o'clock here. Maybe it gives us a nice move to the upside. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a nice little wick. So it would be nice to get a little wick right there. So after we close this candle right here, the next candle wicks below and then runs higher. I would like that. And to be honest, it's a no news day. So really we need to be more risk off instead of risk on. So we're not sizing up. We're not doing none of that crap. All right, 11 o'clock here. This is what I did last time. It almost looked identical. Took the low, high, lower, low, broke higher. Took that long right there. But we're not doing that right now. This is a 2-minute long here if we get it. Nope, did not get it. It stinks that there's not an inversion to the downside. ES is forming a ton of liquidity for an upside move here. You see all that right there? All that liquidity just could be ran at any moment. I like that. I want to take a long. I'm going to try a long. I don't know when, but if that doesn't play out, I'll be done for today. It'll be the last trade I take. I'm watching this inversion right here to see if we can find support inside this inversion. The 5-minute, it filled that 5-minute fair value gap. Could be a continuation to the downside. Please don't. Close below 11 a.m. Open is your opportunity to go short. I'll be going short if we close below this inversion that we have right here. Rejected the midpoint, sign that it may want to leave, just like a little kiss goodbye. Let's see if it wants to do it. Got another fair value gap right here. Watching it for the 2-minute close. ES is just about start running that liquidity. I like the idea of an explosive move here. We'll see if it wants to do it or not. I'm partial to wanting to wait for more confirmation because we really never ran a significant low. We're just inside the fair value gap. So that makes it just a little bit harder. All right, so there's the close. I'm going to see if we get a retracement here. If we do, I'll probably take an entry. If it takes a long, you guys can jump in that and take the long if you want. If it goes, I'm not sure. Let's see here. The 5-minute also closes here shortly. Stops at break even. I have to have it there to protect myself in case it wants to continue to fall. We could bring it down to 75 because that's the close of the fair value gap on the 2-minute. So I'll bring it down there just in case. I'm willing to take a 7-handle loss on that to see if it wants to continue to respect that fair value gap. Five-minute closed above. We just have a 5-minute inversion right there. 5-minute is 76. Technically, we'd probably want our stop loss to be down here. Let's do this. I'm going to close that while it's still green. I'm going to see if we get a little bit of a purge here and then take an entry again. I probably got scared out of the trade, but we'll see if it wants to run a little bit lower here. If I got out, I got out, and I epically allowed emotions to take control. But I just think we might just sweep this right here. So I want to let it sweep it. Folks, I gotta take this call here real quick. Sorry. Duty calls. Sorry about that, folks. All right, so price is not really moving from this position. Yeah, I could still be sitting in this. You could have closed it for 20 handles, but price is not expanding or contracting right now. It's respecting that fair value gap for sure. We'll see if it wants to expand here. If we don't get any activity here, I'm probably going to call it a day. Yes, is not expanding either. I like the idea of it expanding here. Can we get it? Can we run higher now that we just barely wick below? Can it give us a push? I'm not liking it, folks. We're going to call it a day. We're getting too close to where I'm not just seeing what I want it to do. So we're going to call it a day. We'll be back here tomorrow, probably for an afternoon or over lunch session tomorrow. So stick around for that. Other than that, guys, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.